these papers and see.
Eddie enlisted his childhood buddy, Courtney, to help him receive a disability settlement and used the proceeds to make his first foray into the heroin game.
He gave me $800. Then he turned to me and said, Courtney, I'm going into drug business. I say, is you crazy? I say, what do you know about drugs, Eddie? And paying, you can make a lot of money.
I'm the original. As far as selling drugs for Eddie Jackson, I'm the first guy that ever did it. Me and Sidell Kincaid. At the time, Eddie was just hustling around the pool room, you know, and hustling crap games. And he went and bought a little stuff and put it in the building across from the pool room. Me and Sidell went to selling it.
Which I don't see Eddie again for another couple months. I comes back down there and he tells me that the guys had ran off with his money and he broke again. Well, I fill his income tax out. So I filled his income tax out. He went back in business again.
Guys ran scams on us. Sissy Sam and Buddy. They used to sell the weight down in the valley. So Eddie thinking he under the impression he buying a quarter of pure because he gave him $2.50 for it. It's not pure, it's mixed jive. Saying, so me and Sidell, we struggling selling this, you know.
Eddie kept at it, parlaying his income tax return into another small load. This time, he started making money.
I was visiting Eddie once, and he had a guy over his house, was a heroin dealer. He had a El Dorado, a guy named Young Blood. He was snorting some heroin, and I was looking at him hard, and Eddie hunched me and said, don't look at the man like you crazy. This guy had a grocery store, drove an El Dorado, was real sharp. He was dealing drugs. Because I was over there helping him cap up dollar caps. They used to call them penny caps.
While the Italian Mafia still dominated the heroin trade in Detroit, by the late 60s, black dealers were striking out on their own. Chief among them was Henry Marzette.
Now, in my research, we go back to the 50s and found out that heroin was there. You start talking about Henry Marzette.
Marzette was really the first urban godfather here in Detroit.
Who was a police officer and then became the man in drugs. But he wasn't the only one.
He was kicked off the police force in, I believe, 1956 or 57 for shaking down numbers operators in Detroit as well as drug dealers and purveyors.
I knew him. I ain't like Needham. I knew him. I knew all of them. Marzette and them was into murder and kidnapping and all that.
As a police officer, everything he learned about the drug game, and now he was going to apply it to himself, becoming a godfather.
I was given money as a young man on Washington Boulevard by Henry Marzette. And I had an uncle who was a major player, and I was bedazzled by Marzette. He was wearing house shoes. He had a black Fleetwood, 1965. He had a black Fleetwood Cadillac that I thought was the coolest car in the world. And he gave me money for school. And that's what he said. The money wasn't for me to go and get Clugger and an Italian knit. He gave me that money and he said, and I expect for you to go and use this for school and nothing else.
Eddie Jackson's meteoric rise in the dope game came when he met a shadowy figure in Detroit's underworld, John Classen.
Marzette had the name, but actually Claxon was the guy who really had the weight.
The Italian Mafia around here in Detroit had really been...
And so I know a lot, because I know a lot of you guys, family, you actually know of me or Eddie Jr. or my old man or Fat Man's Legend. And you know it through YouTube. Some of you may have seen the documentary, which, by the way, is available at BigBossFilmworks.com or on Amazon Prime, Tubi TV, or most of your streaming platforms. You can still get the award-winning documentary, Motown Mafia. And it all began with this book. Shout out to Lou Stevens, my partner. You never see much of him because he's usually behind the camera. But he has been the backbone of Big Boss Filmworks since we started this thing. So shout out to you, Brother Lou. But so as I was saying, though, if you don't know how, the fact that why me and Eddie have been friends for, you know, all of our lives, Eddie Jr., how his dad and my dad have been friends for all of their lives. The real story on how Eddie Jackson Sr., the Fat Man himself, how he started and built that $1 million empire. You know, we've attempted to unpack it, but if you really want the story, the in-detailed story, you know, give the book a shout. It's also available on Kindle. It's also a history lesson, you know, like in chapter 1, let's just say in the beginning, you know, you get the whole background in chapter 1 of where Detroit was at in the 50s and 60s, the real story with Black Bottom. A feel of what Detroit was like in 1971, where the Detroit Tigers were doing, what the Pistons were doing, what was going on with the race relations in the city. And then the fact that that was the year that would change the course of the Fat Man's organization and everything. That was the year where he met the Gambino crime family. That was also the year where they had the raid on Hubble, which is still, I believe, standing the largest raid in narcotics history in the city of Detroit. So a lot of history, you know, in this book. And I just wanted to give a shout out. Who else? Michelle Moore, the Essence award-winning author, Hood Books. Say You Promise Enterprise, Say You Promise Publishing. Shout out to Michelle. She brought this home. You go, family. I'm not an author, so I put together the manuscript. Michelle Moore brought this project home. Anita Flanagan, the editor, Lou's auntie, you know, again. So shout out 10-year anniversary to the book and all the people who played a part in this thing, and it's just really cool, man. And now, you know, if you told us 10 years ago, I might have said, yeah, I'll be in West Africa, but if you said 10 years ago, Courtney, you're gonna have a book road, and then the follow-up book, which we'll talk about a little bit later, you know, not the follow-up to this. Here's the follow-up, Motown Mafia, Big Man on Campus. But then, you know, we did come out with another book called Get Your Mind Right, Get Your Money Right, Getting Off Zero. And just where the idea started, man. People have been telling me my whole life that I lived an interesting life and stuff I had seen. You know, working for my father, just growing up next to Eddie Jackson, seeing their whole rise, fall, and rise again, and now to be over here in Africa, expanding, you know, this Filmworks thing and this content creation to the motherland, hooking up with some brothers. It's just a blessing, man. So we look forward. We want to say thank you again, though. If you don't know, not got the full in-depth story. 10-year anniversary, Motown Mafia, Memoirs of a Kingpin's Kid. Check it out. You can get it from our website, BigBossFilmworks.com. You can definitely get it from Amazon. And if you have not seen the award-winning documentary that followed up on that, you can definitely check that out on Amazon Prime. So, and Tubi TV, again, all the other ones. And the brothers here are taking good care of us in Senegal. So, a good look, good shout out. Oh yeah, and with the 10-year anniversary, shout out to my man Al Prophet, what he's doing with American Dope out there. You know, Al has been very integral and just been a great assistance. We caught up with Al right when the book was coming out, and you know, he's gone on to do some really big things. And yeah, shout out to Al Prophet, shout out to Cavario, shout out to what they're doing over at American Dope. It's all good. So I ain't gonna hold you guys up, but again, Big Boss Filmworks live, Dakar, Senegal, West Africa, 10-year anniversary book, Kingpin's Kid, Memoirs of a Kingpin's Kid, Motown Mafia. Thank you all. Appreciate the support. Love you guys. I'll let you, man.